What is one piece of advice you'd give to someone looking to start their own family business?
One piece of advice.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to 5 with T5. We're being local business owners, community champions, and all around amazing individuals on the show to learn about their stories or business in a quick and effective way. My name is Stephen Turnbull, your host with T5 Insurance. I'm joined by my good friend today, Mr. Brian Cunningham, who is the owner of Cunningham Custom Jewelry in New Hartford, New York. As always, we're going to start the clock with 5 rapid fire questions for our guest, and then we will get into learning a little bit more. Brian, how are you today?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
I'm ready to go. Here we go. You ready?
I'm
Question number
ready.
1. Your favorite type of jewelry to create and why?
Oh, engagement rings. They're so
Mm,
lasting. You're gonna buy it and then you wear it hopefully the rest of
hopefully.
your life.
Yes.
Hopefully. The rest of
Hopefully.
your life. Sometimes they like to change them up, make the
Yep.
diamonds bigger, etc. But
Like it. All right. Number 2. What is one piece of advice you'd give to someone looking to start their own family business?
one piece of advice, don't try and grow too fast. Keep
Mm,
doing what you're doing, grow like naturally. That's worked really well for us.
steady.
Steady. Slow and
Steady
steady
growth.
wins the race, I think.
I love it. In your day-to-day world, how do you balance keeping up with modern trends while honoring timeless styles?
That is a good question because obviously you want stuff to last. You want it to, in 10 years from now, you look at it and not look stupid. So it's a tough balance. Obviously, when I get commissioned to make something that is kind of trendy, you just make it. But stuff for my showcase, you try. Obviously, you want to have some so it sells, but don't want to have too much so that it sits around here in inventory once it's no longer trendy. So it's a tough balance for sure.
Love it. What is your favorite way to spend a day off?
Oh, my out on the boat or snowmobiles or something outside.
Mm,
But in the summer, definitely sitting on the boat.
love it.
With my kids, sitting out there with my kids. So
Love it. Last question for the rapid fire. One misconception, the first thing that comes to mind, one misconception of your industry.
that we make tons and tons of money. That the markups are insane, and a lot of people have that conception. It's not the case. I think it was 20, 30 years ago, but it's not so much anymore. They're pretty small margins, and everybody thinks we
Mm.
get rich off every project, and not even a chance of
Yeah.
that.
Well, and I want to get more into the differentiator it makes your business with the custom work too, and I think that aligns a lot with that statement. So you made it. You survived the first 5 questions.
Yes.
Congratulations. I know you've been prepping all morning.
I
And
have 2 weeks. I've had my team throwing questions
yeah,
at me because
exactly. And that's why I had so many technical difficulties this morning. I just wanted to give you more time. That's what really it was
I
about.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Brian, for those who are watching this right now, have no idea who you were, never learned about your business, don't know where you are, give us the brief overview of Cunningham Custom Jewelry, and then I know we want to dive into a few things specific.
Yeah, so I'm on Commercial Drive in New Hartford, right across the street from the Texas Roadhouse and the Core Life restaurant there. What I do is I design jewelry on the computer. We have 3D printers that print little plastic models, and then downstairs in the basement we actually pour the metal. So we do the whole process here, start to finish. It's kind of neat because you just come in with some different ideas. You don't have to love one specific piece or one specific ring. I can often combine a whole bunch of ideas to make something really cool. I have a full service repair shop, so I have 2 jewelers that work here with me, and you name it, we can kind of fix it. I hate to say anything, but for the most part, we can fix stuff that you bring in. Even some of the craziest projects we can pull off. So
I wanna take a side note real quick. That Texas Roadhouse, man. Oh my gosh. They're just always slammed.
it's always busy. They start at like 4 o'clock. People line up there when they open. It's insane.
It's unbelievable. I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong, but like I can think of a few local restaurants I'd like to
Yeah,
go to
me too.
instead. But man,
And
people
like
love that Texas Roadhouse.
you can't leave the door open at my shop on a nice day because it just smells like steak all day.
Oh,
The way the wind blows it
I'd be
all
getting
day.
takeout all the time if I was that close. That'd be dangerous. So I know there's incredible history of the business and the different kind of avenues that you've gone through over the years. Take us back to, I know I'm just trying to think from our past conversations of what that location that you're at now originally was, and then the adaptions that you made along the way to when we're recording this in 2024.
Sure. So my great grandfather bought the building in 1954. Um, it was a diner when he bought it. This was the middle of nowhere on Commercial Drive. It was the truck route they called it, so it was just a way to get into Utica. He sold TVs when they were first invented. That was his thing. So he was very early in the television business. He had a factory downtown to make the antennas because there was no cable back then. He had a repair service. They had a bunch of stores. They had one up in Rome, one downtown. So they had a bunch of different stores making TVs, selling TVs, and fixing them. My grandfather took that over. They've each added on portions of this building over the years. So my grandfather took it over. He continued television business, continued to fix them. Eventually, they started to become throwaway. That was the problem with the television business. So my grandfather tried furniture for a while. He sold furniture, and then it shifted over during the 1980s to coins. So silver made a big run, and he switched over. It was like late 70s or early 80s, and he switched over to coins, which my dad took over in the 90s, early 90s. And then my dad started doing jewelry because coins were starting to go out of trend, I guess. There wasn't as many collectors. And so then I took over in 2015 and we got rid of the coins and I only do jewelry now. So,
Mm. I love that story because like it's the power of a small business having to
yeah,
adapt. And like you didn't only just adapt in the business, like complete TVs to jewelry, right?
right.
But like the story along the way is what makes it great. And it's funny, we had our little T5 Christmas party last night and we had a dinner and we got talking about, I don't know how, Blockbuster, right? And how like
Yeah.
as a kid and like the age that I'm at, like I vividly remember that. Like it was a big deal to go down, get a movie. The one in Clinton had an ice cream place in the back, so it was a double header. It was
Yeah.
fantastic. Get our
Yeah.
ice cream, get our movie theater, but like now you just do it by a click of a remote and like how that's all changed. But I love the story of your guys' business because it's like, yeah, the TVs are great, and then we realized we had to make this adaptation. And then we went to the
Right.
coins and like, and I know your dad still plays around a little bit with the coin world, but like that's when you primarily went into the jewelry and like that adaptation, like you, as small business owners, you have to be aware of that, of what's changing, the trends, all of that stuff.
Right.
And I think that's a fantastic part of your story. One thing I wanted to dive into with those trends is the ability for the custom jewelry that you do. Right. I mean, I think it's so cool. Like you've made I could show it off right here. This piece for my grandmother who passed away.
Yeah.
That is a microphone because she loved singing, and one of her lyrics is on the hand on the microphone. Like all these cool pieces of jewelry that I know you've custom made for us and our family. But like, walk us through the change in business from a business owner of when you started to dive into that and what you were able to do to offer that to the Mohawk Valley and beyond.
Yeah, so my dad always thought it was the future of jewelry, was this custom jewelry. In the beginning, it was a very expensive buy-in, like it would have been very hard and expensive to get into. And of course, he doesn't have any computer skills, so that's where I came in. I'm an engineer, so that's how I got into it. The trends and stuff is super cool. Obviously, it's as far as I know, I'm the only one in the area doing this much customization. I think people do some customizing stuff, but not like I do soup to nuts as I'm doing here. It's really cool because I can do things like what you're wearing, totally personal to you. I'll never make it for anybody else. Like that's your piece. It's one of one, and I think that part's really cool.
Mm.
You
So
get to wear it every day,
yeah, so
obviously.
take us through that process. Like, what does that look like when a client comes in and wants something custom made like that? Because I, like you said, soups and nuts. I think it's so cool. You do it right there at your shop. It's not like, okay, here's the designs. We're going to send it out to somebody in California, and they're going to work it up, and we'll have it here in 7 business days. Like you're
Yeah.
doing the whole process there. Talk us through that and walk us through that.
Yeah, so what I do is people will come in, say they're remaking a ring. We'll use that as an example. They'll come in with their old stuff. They'll say, "Hey, I'd like to make something new out of this old stuff." So that day they come in, I take some notes. Usually they have some ideas. So I'll take measurements of their stones if they already own the diamonds or gemstones or whatever we're working with. And then I'll take notes on that and I'll get their design ideas that they have, send them on their way. Usually a week and a half later, depending on my schedule, I get them back in to take a look at a 3D model, my little plastic model, and the actual computer rendering of the piece. My famous line is, "It does not hurt my feelings if you don't like it." So if there's something somebody doesn't like about
Right.
it, just tell me like it is. It's easy to go in the computer and keep making changes to it to get it exactly how they're thinking in their head. And then once they say, "Yep, this is it," roughly 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks after to get it actually finished up and delivered in hand. So the neat part is you get to see the little model. You get to try it on your finger. You get to put it on your neck, whatever we're doing to make sure that you're going to like it before we actually create it. And I always say, what you see in plastic, I have a little plastic, right?
Mm.
There's everywhere in this shop, but so you get to see it. And what if you don't like it in plastic, you're not going to like it in
Right.
the real piece. It's what you see is what you get. So
Yeah. Um, you talked about your engineering background and how that helped with all that, but take us through like the learning curve of that, like going the business going from coins to jewelry, and
Yeah, so it
like and especially going to the customization and like the 3D models to the real stuff and making all of that. Like, how does that learning curve look like?
yeah, so it was huge. Obviously, I had some CAD background because of my degree. So that part wasn't the end of the world. It's not super hard to pick up, especially because I had a background in it. The actual pouring of metal from 3D models was a huge learning curve. We were one of the early ones in the business, in the industry. I can't even say business, but in the industry doing that. So there's all kinds of problems with different resins and what temperatures to have your oven at and your metals at. I can't tell you how many bad castings we had and bad projects we had. You just have to keep redoing them, redoing them, redoing them. Obviously, we've perfected it now. For the most part, the first time we do it, we get a good result. But it was huge. Took us probably 2 to 3 years to consistently get good pieces coming out of our process.
Yeah,
And you'd call these major companies, and they didn't know. Nobody had answers yet because we were kind of guinea pigs, along with a few other places. We were just guinea pigs doing this type of work.
sure.
So.
All right, let's pivot the conversation here when we have a few minutes left to the engagement side of the business. I love this because it's not as exciting as setting up an insurance policy, but almost as exciting, right? I know when we bring on new clients here at T5 Insurance and they get so excited to set up that new home policy or that auto policy, getting that engagement ring, proposing to your significant other, it's almost as exciting. But I'm not surprised. When I was putting those questions together, I didn't even think of that as a potential answer. But now that you've said it, I'm not surprised. That's the best part of what you do and the exciting part. But just if you can take us through that, because full disclosure, Brian helped me craft the engagement ring for Michaela, and like here I am, not knowing, haven't done this before, right? And walking in like, all right, I just need an engagement ring and color, clarity, cut, all these things that you're throwing at me. I'm like, you tell me, Brian. But I think that's the amazing part of the service that you provide as well, right? To walk people through that and allow them to know their options with customization if that's something they're looking for. But talk us through that side of the business for people that may be thinking of that in the next couple of weeks, days, months, years here.
Yeah, so that is exactly it. When you leave here, I want you to feel like you got exactly what you wanted. You weren't pressured into buying something that you didn't want, or maybe was more expensive than you wanted to spend, or that's my goal. So I start by, say we're doing natural diamonds, I go through the color clarity cut. I have this whole big rundown we do. I show you the differences between the two, and then we talk about the price differences that will cause. And then either I have some here, or we get them in to take a look at different stones that maybe are in what you're looking for or in your budget. That's my ultimate goal, to never force something on people. I really want them to be educated when they leave here and feel like they made a good decision. They're very happy with what they bought. Again, I don't want it to be pressured. I don't want you to spend more. I don't try and push budgets. That's never my goal, is to get more money out of you. I don't care about that. I'd rather get exactly what you want, help you get exactly what you want,
Mm-hmm.
and leave here say, man, this ring is awesome. This is just what I was thinking. He didn't put me in debt doing it. Just one of those kind of things.
So for those naive individuals like myself, I'm always curious of the conversation about the diamonds themselves, right? And I think if you haven't gone through the process of purchasing diamonds, purchasing the game ring, you don't know what you don't know, which is fair. Talk to us about that, and if you can add on too, like where do you source these from? Like what does that look like for you to get that end product from an engagement ring standpoint on somebody's finger? Like where are you getting the diamonds from? How does that work from your back end?
Yeah, so for getting them, sourcing, there's dealers all over the country. Obviously, I have my favorites that I mostly work with just
Sure.
because they're easy and we trust each other that he's gonna send me nice stuff, and of course I'm gonna pay for it on his end. But there's a big trading network that I'm a member of, and all of the dealers really around the world list their inventory on there, and we can go on there. A lot of them have videos and pictures. So you can go on there and actually select the diamond that you're specifically looking for. You can see it before we get it. I try and focus on the United States only because the shipping's a lot easier. It's a lot faster.
Sure.
So mostly dealers out of New York City. I have some out of Chicago. I have one that I really like out of Texas. So I have a few, but they're for the most part scattered around the United States. If I have more time, sometimes I'll go overseas just because they can be a little bit cheaper. Um, but it takes a lot longer again. And then I'm kind of stuck with them. So you have to know that you're going to like them before you buy them. It's a lot harder to return them overseas. When a customer first walks in, you heard the speech because you did it with me, but I have this whole speech that I give, and I get out a little chart, and again, I talk about the color, how it starts at D, goes down to Z, and clarity starts at flawless and goes down to I3. And then, like I said, I have a huge selection in stock, so I bring those out, and I try and show the differences between an F color stone and a J colored stone, so that people can actually see it and make an informed decision. And then my famous line, I don't know how famous, but I'll put a F color next to each other and a J color next to each other, and you'd see the difference. But then I always slide them apart, and you say, is this difference in color worth the price difference? And some people it is, some people it isn't. But
Mhm.
that's what I try and do is let you and help you to make an informed decision. And again, not force one thing or the other just because I like it better. I don't. I just want the customer to be happy and truly
Yeah.
satisfied with what they bought.
Yeah. Last thing I want to touch on is your customer service. I just know from working with you, and you've helped our family on several things, and I always joke I'll be down in Christmas Eve at 6:30 at night or something. Leave the door open for me in the back. But I just know, like, from being in your shop when others are in there, like, it's a first name basis. You know a lot of your customers. It's very, like you said, friendly, welcoming. No pressure to make any decisions. Here are your options. Why is that so important to you? And if you can tie it into, like, with this community as well, with the clientele that you've grown over the years.
Yeah, so this obviously this community is very small, and so it's once you get in the circle, it's very easy to stay in the circle of friends and families. And of course, if you make them mad, you're gonna be kicked out just
Sure.
as easily. So that is super important. You try and keep them happy and keep everybody happy. The joy of my shop is it's just me out front, sometimes my dad, but for the most part, it's just me. Either way, it's only a Cunningham out front talking to customers, so that part is kind of nice. I don't think I'll ever grow to where I have somebody other than a family member out here talking to customers.
Mm,
So that part's nice. And you don't have to wait for corporate to make a decision. We just make a decision, right or wrong. If there's a problem, we fix it. I really, truly stand behind my work. I try and be a no argument kind of guy. Just bring it in, let's get it fixed, and send you on your way.
right.
Again, I'm no pressure. I don't care if you buy, don't buy. Stop in, take a look, and I try not to hover too much and show you a million things. Like you're welcome to just come in and browse, and I try not to stand over the top of you and breathe down your throat while you're just browsing around. So
Yeah.
um, that's our kind of my I don't know specialty, but that's how we run things here. We do know a lot of our customers, and the ones we don't know, I don't advertise it. Also, it's mostly referrals. They'll come in and say, "Hey, Stephen Turnbull referred me," or
Hmm.
something like that. And we've really grown leaps and bounds because of that. It's really worked well for us. So.
That's awesome. Brian, wrapping this up here, what's the best way for people to obviously come down? What's your hours, or get in touch with you, or call the shop if they have questions, whatever it might be?
Yeah, so I'm 10 to 5:30 during the week, 10 to 2 on Saturday. I'm always here outside of those hours, especially this time of year. It's a zoo around here. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, all the socials, obviously, CunninghamCustomJewelry.com. You can call us on the phone, you can text me. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. And again, it's only me answering, so um, yeah,
Love it.
easiest way to get a hold of us is any of the above.
Love it. Very good. Yeah, just tell him Stephen Turnbull sent you. He'll give you that 6:30 Christmas Eve discount. Yeah,
Christmas Eve special. You're just trying to get your punch card filled.
yeah, it's exactly it. That's right. My punch card. $200. Go pass go again. All right, everybody. That's a wrap of today's episode of 5 at T5. Brian, thank you for taking the time to join us. Everybody, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at T5 Insurance. It's where we put up these episodes weekly on Wednesdays at noon. Until next time, remember the power of connection and learning from one another is what makes our community thrive. But most importantly, remember to make an impact in someone's life today, even if that's your own. Stephen Turnbull here at T5 Insurance. We'll see you next week. Take care.